Hey, what's going on? Welcome to this week's episode of Conquer the Day. I am your host, Brian Pikowitz.
And I'm your co-host, Lindsey Pikowitz.
We are the head coaches and co-founders of the Fitness Project, where we focus on building fit and healthy leaders. Now, over the last decade, we've worked with over 1,000 clients all across the country, and we've helped them redesign their lives so they can be healthy, fit, and really show up with the energy and focus they need in order to lead at their best. Now, a lot of times when people start a fitness journey or they're trying to change something about their lives, they get so consumed with their program. What do I have to eat? How do I have to work out? But the truth is, that's only a small portion of the equation that actually leads to success. And if you look at really getting results in fitness, one of the most important areas that you can start to analyze and improve is your beliefs.
Yes, your beliefs are so powerful because what you believe ends up leading you into your behavior. And a lot of times we will act out of alignment with our goals and not understand why. Most of the time, if we peel back why you're doing what you're doing, it's because you have a belief that is limiting you or a belief that is driving you. Now, what is a belief? A belief is simply a feeling of certainty. Have you ever been in a conversation with somebody and they have a different belief than you? Both of you believe that your idea is true. Are you wrong? Are they wrong? It's hard to say. What's also great to know as we dive into this conversation about your beliefs, which might be something you've never audited before, a belief can change. There are certain things that have to happen for a belief to become one of your own. And there are also things that you can do intentionally to break beliefs, to change beliefs. So what we're going to do with you today in this podcast is help you really understand yourself and then ideally start breaking some of the beliefs that you don't even realize are limiting you from being your healthiest.
Now, like Lindsey said, a belief is a feeling of certainty that something is true. And it's important to start by understanding where they come from. Right? So where do you get your beliefs? Well, our beliefs start by our experience, right? And most of that experience begins with our childhood, begins with our parents, begins with our upbringing. You can think a belief is built by experience. And what an experience does is it gives you evidence. So we talked about, a belief is a feeling of certainty that something is true. Well, what gives you that feeling of certainty is you experience enough evidence to validate it, right? If I believe that winter is brutal, right? Well, it's probably because I have experienced some really harsh winters living in New England, right? When we lived in Dallas, there was a whole layer of beliefs about what summer meant, right? In New England, summer is beautiful. Summer is the best season because you're out of the winter. It's the most beautiful air. It's so crisp. It's so clean. There's evidence that reinforces that summer feels great. When you're in Dallas and it's 120 degrees every single day from the time of May till September, you have some different beliefs about what summer's like. So you start to understand that our experience shapes our beliefs. It shapes the way that we view the world. And it's really challenging when you get stuck in a belief to change it if you do not gain new experience and new evidence. Now, here's the catch. Just because something feels true and just because you have evidence that it's true doesn't necessarily mean it is. And so we want to be mindful of our beliefs because our beliefs show up in two different ways. They can be empowering, right? I can hold a belief about myself that really gets me to take action. Like I am persistent. I'll always find a way. I believe that I have the potential. I believe I have the capacity to do this. That's a really empowering belief. Whereas there might also be some limiting beliefs. And a belief that's limiting is something that keeps you from making progress towards, let's say, your goal or your potential, right? If I believe that I can't lose weight, or I believe that it's impossible for me to get stronger, or if I even believe I'm just not a morning person, right? I'm not a morning person. Well, if you believe you're not a morning person, do you think you're going to get up on time? Do you think that you're going to create the schedule that allows you to have more energy in the morning? Maybe, maybe not. And so you can start to see that just because you feel that something is true doesn't always mean it is. And so we want to analyze our beliefs and we want to break them down because there's a really important quote. I want to pull from. Whether we believe we can or we believe we can't, we're most certainly right. And so when you talk about those empowering and limiting beliefs, there's really 4 core beliefs or categories of belief that we want to start to analyze and break down to see where we're at and how we might even be able to shift some of our core beliefs to get more of the results that we want.
And as we break down these different categories, see it as a self-audit. What do I believe about that particular category? Get curious, which we'll come back to towards the end. Hint, hint, that's one of the keys to breaking a belief is getting curious. But as we go through the self-audit, just start to get curious with yourself and ask, what do I personally believe about that? And see it through the lens of, as we said, a belief that could limit you or could empower you. Mm-hmm. What is category number 1, Brian?
One of the most important areas for you to be aware of when it comes to challenging your beliefs is how you perceive failure. So for a lot of people, failure is fatal. That's very disempowering because failure has the opportunity for us to learn, to grow. You think of when you're teaching someone a new skill, there's a lot of failure. And unfortunately, we don't think that fitness is an area for us to develop a skill. We see it as something that is absolute. We should already know what we need to do, and therefore when we're not doing it, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. I can't believe I've done it again, right? So we want to start to analyze, how do I perceive failure, right? And an empowering belief around failure is that there's an opportunity for growth. There's an opportunity for a lesson. There must be some new skills I have to develop. When someone comes in the team and says, I just don't have time. Well, what we think is, how do you manage your time? What are your skills around time? What are some of your beliefs around time? Mm-hmm. That is more of a skill set, right? Because everyone can use their time differently. So what are your priorities like? You can start to see, though, if we're not analyzing why we're failing or some of our beliefs around failure, we will keep ourselves in the box where we fail to grow. Yeah. And so what you want to think of if you're someone who feels like, oh, failure is fatal, is how can you ask yourself a new question? So when failure comes, ask yourself, okay, what is this teaching me? What do I have to learn? Where can I grow from this? Is there something that I could do differently to make more progress? Mm-hmm. We want to be very mindful of how we perceive failure, because if we see it as black and white, binary versus a spectrum of growth, well, then it can really keep us from seeing more of the progress we want to make.
Yeah, and a great example of that, just to go to the fitness side of things, is your past failures, quote unquote. If you look back at your experience with fitness or weight loss and you see failure after failure after failure, and you start to really believe that you are a failure and cannot succeed with fitness, that is, as Brian said, that is going to put blinders on, and it is going to keep you from finding success. It's like going on an Easter egg hunt and truly believing that all the Easter eggs are already gone. You're not really going to look in the little places that they could be hidden, right? Silly example, but really think about the simplicity of that. When you believe that all the opportunities are gone or all the success is for other people, you're not going to even see the opportunities. So what I would challenge you to do, if you're someone who has failed or you feel like you failed with fitness in the past, is take a moment to look back and ask some of those questions that Brian's asking. We don't just necessarily cut off the past and move forward, especially if you have difficult or limiting beliefs with regard to failure. We have to look back and see, what was that trying to teach me? Or, hey, why did I fail? Yeah. Where did I let that go? Because you probably did have some success for a short period of time. And simply because you didn't maintain it doesn't necessarily mean that you are a failure. It just means that you fell off. Something happened. You lost your way. You weren't mindful. There's so many things that could have come from that experience. And you can still extract those lessons now, even if it's in the past.
Now, the first category of belief that we want to analyze is failure. The second is feedback. Yep. For some people, failure is criticism. It's judgment. It's harsh. For others, feedback is a gift, right? Feedback is the opportunity to grow. Feedback is a distinction that might change the way you're perceiving your behavior, your actions, the way you're approaching the journey. And so if we want to have a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, we want to see feedback as a gift, as something that's allowing us to get better. And here's a really great example. You can analyze your own patterns around feedback by just asking the question, when someone gives me a new thought, or they say, hey, you need to do this differently, how do you react? Do you get negative? Do you get defensive? Or do you get curious? Do you say, okay, well, where is that true? Where is it not? And even if it's not good feedback, meaning that the person was rude, the person was disingenuous,
It wasn't well delivered.
you can get feedback on how to give feedback, right? Oh, I don't want to talk to my employees that way. I want to talk to them this way. I would never talk to someone that way. Hey, that's a good lesson, or I can gain something from it.
Yeah.
Here's a little example that I'll share about a baseline analysis of how you perceive feedback. The other day I was at the gym, and there was this kid, he's like 20 years old, and he was making a lot of noise, right? He was, lifting, he's like, rah, rah. And there's a small gym. As someone who has made a lot of noise in the past, I was like, I understand that he's working hard. But this female walks up to him, and in front of the whole gym, looks at him, makes a big noise, or a big stink of it. She goes, "Are you okay?" And you could just see this kid shut down. He was just like, oh my God, embarrassed because of the way she treated him. And I walked up to her very kindly afterwards and says, hey, that wasn't very nice. Very, very funny, kind of tongue-in-cheek, very kind. I wasn't being rude. It's like, hey, that wasn't very nice. And she blew up. She reacted. She said, oh my gosh, you don't even know what you're talking about. You can't, I wasn't being mean. You don't even understand. I said, whoa. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm saying that wasn't nice. Baseline statement. And she had this total reaction. And I was like, oh, wow. This person does not perceive feedback very well. Right? And that's a funny example.
Yeah.
But think of your own life. When someone gives you feedback, do you see it as criticism? Do you go and defend yourself? Or do you ask, okay, is that true? Is it possible this is true? What are they trying to teach me? Maybe they're not delivering it well, but the lesson is something that's strong. So maybe I need to ask a new question. Okay, that doesn't really make sense to me, or I'm not understanding why is this important? Right? What are you trying to actually tell me here? If we can understand how to receive feedback better, hey, that might even help us prevent failure in the future.
Yeah, feedback is a gift. That is the most helpful belief that I have ever adopted with regard to feedback. As transparently, someone who struggles to receive feedback or has notoriously struggled with it in the past, I always come back to the baseline belief: feedback is a gift. I can learn something from every bit of feedback I receive, even if I don't like it, even if it triggers a defensive response at first. I can humble myself and receive feedback no matter who it's from. That's a belief I'd like to transfer to you if you tend to struggle with feedback. And the third core belief that can either limit or empower you is how you perceive other people's success. If somebody else is successful with their fitness journey and they lose 100 pounds, and you see that and think, well, they must just have some type of support that I don't have. Or you see somebody who's in great shape, you might think, well, they were probably always that way. Mm-hmm. Those are just beliefs about someone else's success. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we take other people's success personally. We make it mean something about us. Mm-hmm. We think, well, they have success, therefore there's less success available for me, right? That idea of there's only a few pieces of the pie, and if somebody else has them, then I can't have it. That scarcity mindset around success. In other worlds, somebody else's success is evidence and proof that you can also succeed. Mm-hmm. So you can see how just that one category can totally change, we'll say, your belief in yourself and your ability to succeed, but also it can really build either resentment or excitement.
Yeah, exactly. And when we think of other people's success, there's a lot of blinds that you'll hear from time to time that shows that someone might have some limiting beliefs around success, or they might see other people's success as a negative comparison of them. Oh, it must be nice, right? The person who says that is not asking, okay, what did that person do differently than me? It must be nice to be that way, or it's easy for you to say. It's like, who's to say it's easy for that person to say? People who are successful, every single one of them has had to overcome tremendous amounts of failure. Doesn't matter where they start in the fitness line or in the life line, right? We see it all the time with people who run their own businesses. It's like, oh, it must be nice. It's like, yeah, well, do you want to do this? Mm-hmm. Do you want to work this hard? Are you willing to make the sacrifices? Are you willing to fail like I have?
Yeah, and there's something I want to say here, because one of the parts of you that you will have to go to battle with. If you're really resonating with this and you say things like, hey, oh, well, that must be nice, or of course they can do that. You have to come to grips with the fact that you are shifting blame.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of looking at yourself, you're blaming something outside of you. And all that is a way to stay comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's humbling. But when you actually face that part of yourself and you say, I don't need to blame anymore, you take your power back and you can accomplish so much more.
One of the most empowering beliefs that you can adopt in life is seeing other people's success as evidence. So we talk about beliefs being based off of evidence. If I get enough evidence that something is true, I start to believe it is. So when I see someone who's really successful in a category, whether that is their fitness or their wealth or their business, my brain goes to, what are they doing differently? And here's a really important question. What do they believe that's different than mine? We were recently in Las Vegas for a conference at acquisition.com. Acquisition.com is one of the most successful coaching companies in the world. Alex Hormozi, Leila Hormozi, you might be familiar with them. And I was talking to one of their heads, like the head of their company. His name's Ed. And I said, Ed, what is the most important belief that you see from all the successful CEOs that come in here? I didn't ask him, well, what do they do? What's their marketing? What's their this? I said, what do they believe? And he said, their belief is that someone else can do this job better than I can. Wow. That's a pretty empowering belief for someone who is a CEO of a company trying to grow it, because sometimes you feel like I got to do everything myself. Mm-hmm. So when you see someone who's really successful, instead of resenting them, ask, what do they believe differently than me?
Absolutely.
And how can I get more of those beliefs in my life? Because if you can adopt a new belief, you'll have a totally different experience of life, right? We talked about at the beginning of the podcast, going from New Hampshire to Dallas. You have a summer in New Hampshire, you're going to be like, oh my God, summer's amazing. If you have a summer in Dallas, it might feel different.
Yep.
If you have a winter in New England, right, you're going to feel totally different about winter. So we start to see that if we can get some new experience and new evidence, we'll grow. And someone else's success is a great area for you to grow too.
Those are the big three so far, which are, as we said, failure, feedback, and other people's success. But now we actually need to pull apart topic-specific beliefs, which is the fourth core belief or area that we're going to dig into.
Yeah, we all have certain beliefs around topics, right? You can think of money. We all have certain beliefs around money because money is a very emotional, it's a triggering conversation. We have beliefs around faith and religion. We have beliefs around relationships.
Yep.
Right? A relationship's supposed to be, a relationship is, a successful relationship is. These are some priming questions. But fitness and health, we have a lot of beliefs on because it is emotional, right? In some cases, it's life or death. So when we think of the category of, let's say, topic-specific beliefs, let's dig into some fitness beliefs. Now, we did this with our clients recently, and it's a beautiful process we're going to walk you through, which is a fitness belief audit, right? You can start to think there's certain phrases, certain lines that we have automatic associations to. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to lead you through some of these questions so you can build some awareness around your own associations. And this will shine a light as to whether your beliefs are limiting or they're empowering.
Pay attention.
And so take a moment. If you want, you can pull up a piece of paper because we're going to put these on the screen. But some baseline fitness beliefs, again, just write down the first thought that comes to your mind, right? Some word association, some phrase association. Think fitness is blank, right? So when you think of fitness, your first thought, fitness is it hard? Is it difficult? Is it inspiring?
Yeah. If somebody said, what is fitness all about? You'd say, oh, well, fitness is, insert your belief here.
For me, fitness is essential. Right? I believe fitness is essential. If I don't have my fitness and health, what do I have? So I believe fitness is essential.
I believe fitness is fun.
Yeah. Now, I believe fitness is intense in a good way. I love being intense. I'm an intense person. So I've associated that, hey, fitness really works well for me when it's intense. Right? So we might think, secondly, off of that, going through, fitness is not.
Fitness is not blank.
What is your first thought? Working out is. People who are really fit are. Healthy people are. Being healthy is. Whenever I gain weight, I immediately think eating healthy is. Eating healthy really is. Carbohydrates are. I am what with food? Am I disciplined? Am I careless? Am I struggling? Right?
Am I intentional?
Yep. I want to be fit because. I want to be fit because. I am willing to do what to become fit?
I am willing to do blank. Anything. Nothing. I am willing to what to become fit?
So take a moment. Again, we put these on the screen just so you can start to analyze those beliefs. But if you look at your core beliefs around this, what did you recognize? What did you realize?
Yeah.
What do you notice about some of these core beliefs? Are they empowering? Are they limiting? Are there some beliefs that make you feel, I don't really like that I believe that? Or there's some good beliefs, some strong beliefs.
You're like, man, that's going to get me places.
Mm-hmm. I need to get fit for my kids. I need to get fit for my grandkids. I need to get fit because life is worth it. It's like, okay, maybe there's some strong, empowering beliefs here. So make maybe a circle around some of the disempowering ones, because those are going to be some of the things we can help you change in a moment.
Yes. And think about what words you might have used outside of those beliefs. Did you say, I want to get fit? I need to get fit? I have to get fit? I get to get fit? I'm getting fit, right? Even as Brian said that last phrase about what you need to get fit for, what words do you use? Because that really does uncover what you currently believe. Again, these things can change. Now, if you look at your beliefs and you see some areas that are disempowering or limiting, there is a 5-step framework for breaking any belief. First step of that framework is you build awareness, which is exactly what you do when you identify the belief that you currently hold that might be limiting you. The second is you get curious. You ask yourself, is that really true? So awareness, curiosity, identify the consequences. If you hold on to this belief, where is it going to lead you? Fourth, find new evidence. What can I find that actually tells me that this belief isn't always true? You start to shake the belief. And then step 5, you condition a new belief with repetition, which is, well, what is actually true? What do I want to believe? And you find evidence for that new belief, and then you just start to reinforcement.
And you could think maybe the belief that you hold on to fitness or about fitness is intimidating. Okay, fitness is intimidating. Okay, well, let's be curious. What makes it intimidating for me? What is the experience I've had around this? Well, it might be I went to the gym and I didn't know what to do and I saw all the fit people and I got intimidated and I said, oh my God, this isn't for me, so I left. Didn't even try. It's like, okay, well, what are the consequences of this belief? Well, I'm 50 pounds overweight. I'm not strong. I'm in pain. I don't feel good. It's like, okay, so is this belief worth holding on to?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to hold on to this belief? If you do not link consequences to holding on to a certain belief, it will never change. If we do not link pain to any given behavior, it's not going to change. It's great to think, oh my gosh, I want to be so fit and so healthy. That's a nice place to start. But the truth is that without any pain, without linking pain or consequences to something, it's never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
So once I've gotten some consequences to this belief, the next thing I want to do is I want to get some new evidence. All right, well, if fitness is intimidating, how come these people who go to the gym aren't intimidated? What do they believe? What is their experience?
Mm-hmm.
What has helped them? And is there a world where maybe I can show up to the gym and not feel intimidated? What would I have to believe about myself? Probably have to believe that you're strong and courageous. Probably have to believe that it doesn't really matter if anyone's looking at you because I'm doing the work. You have to focus on something else. And last, once we have a new belief, right? Once we have some new evidence, the next place to start is by taking action. And so I think fitness is intimidating. I don't want to go to the gym. It's anxiety provoking. Okay, well, here are the consequences. It's kept me unhealthy. It's kept me from making progress. I don't like the way I look. Okay, well, is there any other beliefs that I might be able to adopt? Talk to someone who goes to the gym regularly. right? The first time I ever went to the gym, I was so embarrassed because I dropped the weights on my face. I was like, oh my gosh, I left full of anxiety. But I said, okay, I got to go and work on this. And so what I did next is I got a plan. I looked at a bodybuilding magazine that had Arnold Schwarzenegger's workout plan, and I said, okay, I got to go look at what Arnold did. Pretty good evidence, right? Because not only the pictures there, look at that body, look at that physique, that's something I want, but also it had some notes about the way he thought about training. Okay, so he thinks about training totally different than I did. All right, how do I set up my reps? I then reached out to a mentor. He's now one of my best friends. He was in my wedding, but one of my high school teammates, his dad was a former bodybuilder. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, I know you used to bodybuild. Can you help me? I want to start competing. I want to start training. He got on a call with me and he gave me some new distinctions. So I got some new evidence. And then the next time I went to the gym, I had some new beliefs that I conditioned through repetition. And then every time I went to the gym, I saw I'm getting stronger. I'm getting better. I'm getting more comfortable because I'm exposing myself gradually to the thing that terrifies me. And with that exposure becomes, oh, I'm more comfortable here because you get familiar. The reason why you feel anxious at the gym is because you're unfamiliar. So the more familiar you get, the easier it gets. You understand where the equipment is. You understand your body. These are all things you can do. And you condition it. And the most important thing for conditioning a new belief is you need to celebrate it. Right? When I go to the gym one time, I say, damn, I did the thing versus, oh my gosh, I should have been doing this the whole time. What's wrong with me? Not helpful. So again, this is the steps. These are the frameworks you're going to walk through. If we understand some of those areas around failure, hey, you can start challenging those beliefs. Maybe someone's success or feedback, you can start challenging those beliefs. Fitness specific, which is probably the area you're going to want to lean in, start getting new evidence. Reach out to a coach, reach out to a mentor, reach out to a friend. Right? I remember that I was dating this girl before Lindsey and I started dating, and her uncle was the healthiest person I had ever met. He would, eat totally different than everyone else in the family. He always had his pea protein. He was like into organic food. And I was like, this guy's kind of weird, right? Because my beliefs around health were, oh, it's boring. It's restrictive. But then I started to talk to him, and I realized like he had some massive pain. He'd gotten sick. He'd seen his parents get sick. So he had a totally different belief about the value of being healthy. Oh, I stopped seeing eating spinach as something weird. I started doing it myself. So if you get some new evidence, a new experience, it changes your life.
With that, is there anything else that you want to share?
One of the things that you want to be mindful of is sticky beliefs that feel empowering. So we'll call them sneaky beliefs. For example, for years, I used to believe in a very empowering way, I'm just an angry person. I'm just an angry person. And I'd conditioned that belief through repetition because as an athlete, when I got pissed off, when I got angry, I threw the ball harder, I hit harder, I'd go to the gym and I'd get so pissed off, I'd get so enraged. It was easier for me to lift heavy weight. So my brain linked some positive reward to this belief. If I'm angry, I get things done. If I'm angry, I move through challenges. I am a force when I'm in my zone. I'm an intense person. Now, that belief served me in one category, but didn't serve me in another category, a relationship. So I had this period when we first moved from LA to Dallas where there was a lot of challenges in my life. There was a lot of challenges in the business. I was going through all these setbacks, and I would get so pissed off. I'd get so angry. And Lindsey and I were really our only support system at the time. We didn't have anyone else to talk to. We didn't have any friends. We were living in a new city, and I took it out on her. Right? I was just a very negative person to be around. And then I started working with this mindfulness expert, and I was sitting there in a conversation with her, and I said, I'm just an angry person. And she looked at me and she goes, that's really interesting. Because I don't see you as an angry person all the time. You're very lovely. You're very kind. So maybe instead of thinking of yourself as an angry person, you are a human who experiences anger. You experience anger, and that's okay. You're allowed to feel those emotions, but they're not who you are. New belief. Because she challenged it. I obviously linked some consequences to it at the time. she gave me a new belief, some new evidence, because I am nice, I am funny, I am loving. And then every time I would feel myself go into that zone of I am this, it's like, no, that's a very limiting belief. Because I'm more than this. Just like you're more than your failures. You're more than your setbacks. You're more than all the things that have happened to you. You have so many gifts.
Yeah.
And so we want to always, the most disempowering place for us to hold a belief is about our identity. I am this. I am this kind of person. I am someone who struggles with fitness. I'm someone who can never be consistent.
I'm somebody who hates being in a certain weather.
Yeah.
As simple as that is. If you are somebody who hates winter, you will be unhappy. You'll guarantee unhappiness 4 months out of the year at a minimum.
So we want to be mindful and aware of the beliefs that we speak over our identity. There's a really great quote that reads, "We question our beliefs except those beliefs that we truly believe, and those we never question at all." So you can grow so much, especially if you recognize that something is limiting you. And the way you do that is through curiosity. It's by linking some consequences to it. And then it's by repetition of a new belief. If you focus on where you're going and you say, okay, what do I have to believe in order to get there? And then you continue to behave in alignment with those beliefs, you'll see massive growth. And when it comes to your health, this is the most important area because it's going to keep you around longer. It's going to make your life better. And it's going to free you from all that negativity that says that you can't do this.
Amen. If this has been helpful for you today, do us a favor and comment your biggest takeaway if you're with us on YouTube. If you're with us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we would love to see you screenshot this podcast, share it to your stories, and there you can tag Brian and myself and tell us what your greatest takeaway was from this episode. At the end of the day, really take a second to audit yourself. If you listen to this passively and fitness and health has been a category of pain and challenge for you, we both encourage you to come back to this episode with a pen and paper in hand and treat it as a self-growth tool. Come back to it and really use it to break the beliefs that limit you. On the other side of new beliefs is a new life. Don't forget that. That said, we hope you take this information. We hope you had a beautiful breakthrough or one is on its way to you. And until then, go out and conquer your day.
Cheers.